it's the more insidious, secret partisan behavior of very liberal-dominated newsrooms working at the supposedly impartial.
It's official. Piers Morgan has once again ignited a firestorm, this time targeting the ever-controversial talk show The View. Picture this, Morgan, always ready to stir the pot, has now labeled the show as not just biased, but downright pointless. That's right, he's calling for the cancellation of a program that's been a staple of daytime television for decades. But wait, how did we get here? Let's dive into the drama, the accusations, and the jaw-dropping moments that have everyone talking.
But I would tell them to look at themselves very hard in the mirror and say, have we really not brought this on ourselves?
Morgan's grudge against The View isn't exactly new. He's been vocal about his disdain for what he calls cancel culture, often describing it as a modern-day form of suppression, and even going so far as to liken it to fascism. But here's the kicker. Morgan, the self-proclaimed warrior against cancel culture, now wants ABC to pull the plug on The View. Hypocritical? Maybe. Entertaining? Absolutely. In a scathing opinion piece for the New York Post, Morgan didn't hold back, branding the show as a Trump-loathing joke that's lost all relevance. His words were sharp, even by his standards, and they've left viewers divided.
And I've been criticizing them for 8 years for doing it, pointing out that it's not the job of the media to take sides.
But what exactly sparked this tirade? According to Morgan, The View has devolved into a daily anti-Trump spectacle, with the hosts seemingly competing to see who can bash the former president the hardest. He described the show as an echo chamber where differing opinions are not only unwelcome, but actively drowned out. And if you think that's harsh, wait until you hear what he said about the individual hosts. First on his radar, Joy Behar. Morgan tore into Behar over a past Halloween costume controversy, accusing her of hypocrisy and claiming she's the epitome of the show's one-sided nature. He also took aim at Alyssa Farah Griffin, calling her a political opportunist for pivoting from being a Trump supporter to one of his loudest critics. And Sunny Hostin? Oh, she wasn't spared either. Morgan blasted her for her comments about Nikki Haley, accusing her of being hypocritical for criticizing Haley's name while not using her own given name. As for Whoopi Goldberg, Morgan reminded everyone of her suspension from The View over controversial comments, and even brought up past remarks that have landed her in hot water.
I was surprised when she mentioned his sense of humor. But
Morgan's takedown didn't stop there. He painted a vivid and frankly hilarious picture of himself stranded on a desert island with the show's hosts, describing it as his personal nightmare. He imagined them endlessly ranting about Trump, making it clear he finds their commentary not only exhausting but downright unbearable. It's the kind of over-the-top imagery that only Morgan could pull off, and whether you agree with him or not, you have to admit it's entertaining. But what makes Morgan's critique sting even more is how he highlighted the lack of consistency among the hosts. He pointed out that while they often criticize others for flip-flopping, they're no strangers to it themselves. Take Alyssa Farah Griffin, for example. Morgan reminded everyone how she once stood by Donald Trump during his presidency, even praising him publicly, only to later label him the most dangerous man to ever hold office. While people are allowed to change their opinions, Morgan argued that such stark shifts raise questions about authenticity. Are these changes genuine, or are they convenient pivots to stay in the good graces of the show's audience?
Dream. We haven't seen her, and her description of Donald Trump doesn't track with the reality of what we've seen, and I can't relate to the marriage or if they're even in the same place at the same time.
And the hypocrisy doesn't end there. Morgan also took issue with the way the hosts pick and choose their targets. He argued that while they're quick to call out Trump's faults, and let's face it, there are plenty, they often turn a blind eye to controversies within their own political camp. For example, when Kamala Harris avoided directly addressing key criticisms during her appearance on the show, the hosts seemed more interested in protecting her image than pushing for real answers. Morgan described this as a missed opportunity for the show to prove it's more than just a partisan soapbox. This selective outrage, Morgan claimed, is one of the reasons The View has lost credibility with so many viewers. He even suggested that the hosts are more focused on catering to their fan base than fostering meaningful dialogue. And honestly, he's not wrong. It's hard to ignore the applause breaks that follow every jab at Republicans, while any attempt at nuance is quickly dismissed or overshadowed. Morgan's critique might be biting, but it shines a spotlight on a larger issue. The show isn't just polarizing, it's predictable.
Having some more conservative voices on your network, actually not making them pariahs, not directing your audience to feel that everything that Donald Trump does.
But let's not forget the bigger picture here. Morgan isn't just attacking the hosts, he's questioning the very premise of the show. When Barbara Walters created The View, the idea was to bring together women with diverse perspectives for meaningful discussions. Fast forward to today, and Morgan argues that the show has become the opposite of that vision. Instead of fostering debate, he claims it's become a platform for one-sided rants, leaving no room for opposing viewpoints.
And it's a very serious crime. In fact, it's one of the largest, if not the largest, RICO case in New York's history.
And here's where things get interesting. While some may dismiss Morgan's comments as just another rant, others are starting to agree with him. Even viewers who don't support Trump are questioning whether The View has gone too far in its bias. After all, isn't the point of a talk show to explore different opinions, not to shut them down? One fan even commented, "Just cancel that stupid waste of airtime." Clearly, the frustration isn't limited to Morgan alone. But of course, not everyone is on board with his critique. Some argue that Morgan is doing exactly what he accuses The View of, calling for cancellation instead of pushing for reform. They believe the show doesn't need to be axed, but rather reimagined to include more balanced discussions. Others think Morgan's personal attacks on the hosts undermine his argument, making it seem more like a vendetta than a legitimate critique. The debate reached a boiling point when Kamala Harris appeared on The View. Morgan seized the opportunity to highlight what he sees as the show's hypocrisy. Joy Behar asked Harris a loaded question about Trump, throwing in the word crazies to describe his supporters. Harris, in turn, played it safe, avoiding any controversial statements, but also failing to inspire confidence. Morgan argued that this interaction epitomized the show's lack of substance, accusing it of relying on fear-mongering instead of meaningful dialogue.
Which, by the way, how annoying is The View getting? God, they're insufferable, that lot, aren't they? It's just a side effect.
But here's the thing, Harris's appearance wasn't just about her, it was a reflection of the show's broader approach to politics. Critics like Morgan argue that The View has become a platform for Democratic talking points, leaving little room for genuine debate. And while some panelists defended Harris, saying she avoided traps and stayed strategic, others felt she missed an opportunity to address real issues. Fans have been vocal about this as well. One viewer commented, "I am not afraid of these women, especially the racist Sonny." It's a harsh sentiment, but one that echoes the frustration of those who feel the show has lost its way. Another fan pointed out that the show's bias makes it unwatchable, saying it's less about discussion and more about pushing a specific narrative.
Point. If she were a liberal, self-made millionaire migrant model who speaks 5 languages, she'd have her name on a federal building right now, no?
So where does this leave us? Should The View be canceled, as Morgan suggests? Or does it simply need a major overhaul? Some argue that the show could benefit from bringing in more diverse perspectives, not just in terms of politics, but also in how the discussions are framed. Imagine a version of The View where all sides are given equal weight, where debates are passionate but respectful, and where viewers actually learn something new. Sounds like a dream, right? But let's not forget the entertainment factor. Love it or hate it, The View knows how to spark conversations. Whether it's Whoopi refusing to say Trump's name or Sonny blaming uneducated white women for his victory, the show never fails to make headlines. And maybe that's the point. In a world where attention is currency, controversy sells. The question is, at what cost? Morgan's criticism has undoubtedly struck a nerve, but it also raises important questions about the role of talk shows in today's media landscape. Are they meant to inform, entertain, or both? And when does bias cross the line from being a perspective to being propaganda? These are the questions that viewers and networks need to grapple with. As the debate rages on, one thing is clear. The View isn't going anywhere quietly. Whether it's through reform or continued controversy, the show will likely remain a fixture of daytime television for years to come. But for now, the spotlight is on Morgan and his fiery critique. And honestly, who doesn't love a bit of drama? What do you think? Is Piers Morgan right to call out The View, or is he just adding fuel to the fire? Should the show be canceled, or does it deserve a chance to evolve? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to stay tuned for more updates on this ongoing saga. See you next time.